Hello Year 6, Mr. Webb here, and I'm going to take you through a World Book Day lesson. I thought we would start by looking at these famous characters from films and books. I'd like you to study each character, and you may know some, you may not, that's fine. And think about what characteristics do these lovable heroes share. So by characteristic, I mean what are their personalities like? What makes them heroic? What makes them heroes? And who do you think is the most heroic and why? Can you write down your answers for me in your reading skills book? And we'll come back once you've had a go at that. In case you didn't know them, here we've got Matilda from the famous Roald Dahl book Matilda. We've got Winnie the Pooh, Harry Potter, Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit. We've got Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games, The Big Friendly Giant, and Hermione Granger from Harry Potter as well. Now, I think all these heroes share very similar characteristics, and the top three that I thought of are they're all really kind, they're all really selfless, they put others before themselves, and they're all really courageous. They do lots of courageous things. And if you haven't read the books with these characters in, I highly recommend it. Okay, then, let's move on to some villains, some evil characters. Who is the most evil character and why? Think about again their characteristics. What makes them such horrible people? Come back in a moment and I'll reveal who they are if you don't know. And we'll talk a little bit about their traits. I describe these characters as cruel, heartless, and self-absorbed. That means they only care for themselves and their own needs. Not the type of traits we want, but the type of traits that make good villains for the books that we love and enjoy. Okay, hope that's warmed you up for today's lesson. Oh, before I go, we've got Lord Voldemort here. We've got Count Olaf from a series of unfortunate events, a great set of books. We've got Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. We've got the Grand High Witch from The Witches. We've got Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. Mrs. Trunchbull, Matilda. Jadis, the White Witch from one of my favourite books, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And Dolores Umbridge here, who's a nasty teacher or a minister in the Ministry of Magic from Harry Potter. Again, if you haven't read books that these characters are in, I highly recommend it. So, today, in your reading skills book, if you haven't already, can you make sure you got the short date, please? And today, in this lesson, we are learning to explore, to look at, dive into the characteristics of heroes versus villains, and then you're going to create your own. So by the end of the lesson, we will be able to identify what makes a hero and what makes a villain. And we've done a little bit of that already. Importantly, you're going to be able to explain how language used in books helps to describe them, build atmospheres and feeling. And we're also going to be able to use conventions to create your own hero or villain. So, your warm-up task before we actually move on to creating our own hero or villain is this. In a moment, I'm going to show you some extracts, that means parts of a text that are based on villains. And then I'm going to show you a page based on heroes. When you get to those pages, I'd like you to pause, please, and in your books, consider, once you've read the section on a hero or villain, any words or phrases that reveal their personality. What language has the author used that reveals their personality, and how is that really effective in making them evil or making them heroic? Can you also find any words that create a response in the reader and why? So quite often as writers and authors, and you're all authors, you've written lots of stories and different kinds of types of text, we want to interest the reader. And by doing that, we will always try to create a response. We want to suck the reader into that world. So what words, phrases, and sentences does the author use to create a response in the reader? And how did you feel reading that? And then you should also explain how those words are effective in describing their appearance and personality. Now, when you read each section, you won't necessarily see these things in every single character box, but just find as many as you can in the villains and as many in the heroes. So I'm going to move on to the villain text, and that's where you need to pause the video and consider these 3 tasks, please. And then once you've done that, move on to the heroes, have a good read of the text, and again, write down any words or phrases that reveal their personality, words that create a response, and explain how those words are effective in describing their appearance or personality. So here are the extracts for the villains, some of our villains. So if you pause here and have a go at those questions. And here are some of our heroes. So again, if you'd like to have a go at that task with the heroes. Awesome job. Now it's on to creating your own hero or villain. I'd like you to draw the image of your character in the center of the page and label some of their key characteristics around. Now, you can magpie from, depending on whether you're doing a villain or a hero, from the text you've read. That's what all great writers do. They magpie language and vocabulary and ideas from other authors. And here I've given you things to consider. How do they look? How could that look influence the way people perceive them? So how they think about them? What type of clothes do they wear and why? What are their personality traits? Are they cruel, self-absorbed, heartless? How do they speak even? And perhaps even give them a special power. And here I've got an extension, if you so wish to do a little bit extra. Once you've had a go at this, come back and we'll finish with a plenary. Okay, well, I can't wait to see some of the characters that you've come up with. To finish them, I'd like you to think about the 5 most effective words that you can think of to describe the perfect hero or villain. All right, so you don't need to do both. Either choose a hero or villain and write down 5 words, preferably words you haven't used yet, to describe either a hero or villain. And perhaps even use a dictionary, perhaps even go and read a book that you know there's one of your favorite heroes in or one of your favorite villains in. Again, don't forget to send your work. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you've had a great day. And I'm going to see you very soon.